Welcome to Inspiration and Transformation from the Banks of the Ganga with Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, an American sannyasi living at the Parmarth Niketan Ashram in Rishikesh, India. Sadhvi is president of the Divine Shakti Foundation, a charitable organization bringing education, vocational training, upliftment, and empowerment programs to women and children. Sadhvi is also Secretary General of the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance and Director of the world-famous International Yoga Festival. Join the musings of an American sannyasi as Sadhvi shares the wisdom and teachings of her guru, His Holiness Pujya Swami Chidanand Saraswatiji.
Welcome, everyone, to Inspiration and Transformation from the holy banks of the sacred Ganga River in the land of Rishikesh, India. I never feel any happiness. When I get to where I wanted to be, I realize I won't find happiness there. And this cycle goes on and on. How do I find everlasting happiness? This is what the saints and the sages and the rishis have told us for thousands of years. It's what researchers on happiness have written textbooks about. Happiness doesn't come from, or rather I should say, lasting happiness doesn't come from these things outside. Something new that we get, whether it's a possession, whether it's an achievement, whether it's an experience, whatever it may be, it brings us happiness only for a very limited period of time. This is where desires and the issue and aspect of desires is such a core part of the spiritual teachings. Because I desire something, then I get it, I'm briefly happy, but the happiness doesn't last, as you've said. But it's not about how do I somehow make that happiness last. It can't. Again, this is where so many of our spiritual teachings are rooted, in becoming desireless, in learning over and over again how to let go of desire. Here's the thing with desires. When I desire something and I get it, there's an immediate sense of joy in that moment. And a lot of us very mistakenly attribute that sense of joy to what I got. So I desire chocolate ice cream. I get chocolate ice cream. I'm happy. I desire a raise in my job. I get a raise in my job. I'm happy. I desire a new house. I get a new house. I'm happy. I desire a new relationship. I get the new relationship. I'm happy. But what we've seen, both spiritually and scientifically, I'll come to the science in a moment, is that immediate sense of joy that I get doesn't last from the thing. And here's why. It's very subtle, but it's very important. It isn't the thing that has actually given me the happiness. It's that in the moment that I've gotten what I desired, I'm no longer desiring. It's being free of desires that makes me happy. But of course, when I get the object of my desire, briefly, I'm no longer desiring it. As I'm eating a chocolate ice cream, I'm not desiring a chocolate ice cream. As I've gotten a raise from my job, I'm no longer desiring a raise at my job. Temporarily. But then what happens? A few hours later, the next day, oh, I want another chocolate ice cream. Or now I want something else. Another raise. Or as I said, we get the house. Happy in the moment. But the happiness dissipates. Now I wish the house had a better lawn. Now I should have gotten a house with a swimming pool. I want a swimming pool. I've always wanted a swimming pool. Oh, we should have gotten a nice fireplace. Then in the winters we could have sat by the fireplace. When we finally get a fireplace, then I'll be happy. A fireplace for the winter, a pool for the summer. Oh, but our kids, my God, how can we be parents if we don't have tennis courts for our kids? Gotta build tennis courts for the kids. And it's one thing after another. This is the nature of desires. The only happiness that comes in the fulfillment of them, the deep happiness that comes, is that in that moment, I'm no longer desiring. Sure, there's momentary enjoyment anyway, but the real sense of joy, that deep sense of joy in getting what I wanted, is actually subtly but crucially not in the object, but in the fact that in that moment, I'm no longer desiring. And that's why the sages and the saints have always said, become desireless. Because in that desirelessness, there's happiness. Now, let's move for a moment to the scientific side, because this is also something not just spiritually. In science, we speak about something called a hedonic treadmill. And what that means is that, same examples that I gave, take the ice cream cone, we take the raise or the new job or the new house or the new relationship. Everything gives us this burst of happiness in the moment. But then, much like walking or running on a treadmill, you keep going and going and going, and you're not actually getting anywhere. You're not actually getting happier. First bite of chocolate ice cream cone, great. Second bite, really nice. Third bite, still nice. After a series of a few bites, and some of this is neurological, some of this is more of the mix of emotions in neurology. On the neurological side, what we know is that literally we respond to newness. So if you're eating chocolate ice cream or pizza or anything you love, the first few bites, your taste buds are going crazy, sending all these wonderful pleasure signals in the brain. The brain is super happy, giving you all of those really juicy reward chemicals, happy chemicals that make us think, chocolate ice cream. Interestingly, after not very many bites, though, those taste buds stop responding because it's no longer new. We are neurologically wired for newness. It's like when you first see a sunset. Oh, God, that's so gorgeous. But if the sun didn't actually keep dipping and the vision didn't actually keep changing, very soon, the signals from the eyes would no longer be saying, oh, extraordinary beauty, extraordinary beauty, extraordinary beauty. Very quickly, to save sort of neurologic energy, they stop responding. You take that onto an emotional level and you have, as I said, what researchers call the hedonic treadmill, which means I keep doing the same thing that made me happy, but it's not making me happy. Very quickly we adapt. And this is where science and spirituality overlap. That lasting happiness isn't going to come from the things unless you keep changing them and getting new ones very, very quickly. As long as you keep up with your neurons, keep up with the brain chemistry. Chocolate ice cream, strawberry ice cream, vanilla ice cream, cheesecake, pizza, right? 3 bites of each. Until you're sick to your stomach, you'll get the neurons firing. But that's not a way to live. We don't. New house, new car, diamonds, change the new car, change the house, new relationship. Oh, change the new relationship. That's not life. And this is where science and spirituality agree. That lasting happiness doesn't come from these things outside. And spirituality gives us the place it does come, which is inside. And then we go back to the spiritual teachings. That only within are you actually going to find the happiness that lasts. That's why we meditate. It's why we pray. It's why we do japa. It's why we do seva. It's why we have a spiritual sangha to come together. Because it's in those pursuits that actually our happiness lies.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's HOPE, or visit RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Welcome back to Inspiration and Transformation. I'm so glad to have you all back here with me. We've got a lot of gender roles that are imposed upon us by culture, by society. Now, when we speak about the divine feminine, well, that divine feminine lives not only in women. The divine feminine lives in men as well. It's an energy, it's a principle. It's not about a chromosome. It's not about sex organs. It's not about the ratio of your chest to waist to hips. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with an energetic presence. And all of us have the presence of the divine feminine. All of us have the presence of the divine masculine. When we speak about Purush and Prakriti, that energy of nature, Prakriti, and Purush, that undefined oneness of presence. Well, again, this isn't about men and women. This isn't about what particular organs your body has or what your chromosomes are. These are energies in us. So when we speak about men finding that divine feminine within themselves, it's really about men allowing themselves to be free from that cultural sense which says men must be like this, men must be like that. That's not macho, that's not masculine. Before we can embody any divinity within ourselves, whether a divine feminine, divine masculine, whether we can embody anything divine within ourselves, we have to first break free of all of that which emphasizes to us, that keeps us stuck, of you are some label. So whether it's you are female, you are male, you are old, you are young, you are smart, you are stupid, you are beautiful, you are ugly, you are black, you are white. Whatever role society imposes upon us keeps us stuck, keeps us boxed up. This is where we always speak about breaking free from those roles. And so in order to embody anything divine, I have to first break free from those roles. And so as the question asked about women helping men find that divine feminine, well, first we have to help them understand that their beingness, their presence, their manliness is not a cage for them to be in. It's not something that pushes away all of that which we identify as feminine. It's not that which is anti-compassion, anti-tenderness, anti-softness, anti-cooperation. It's not a set of characteristics that's harsh and competitive and separate and walled off. That's a caricature, not a real story. It's a caricature. It's a cartoon. And it works if you're, Fred Flintstone. But it doesn't work if you're trying to find the divine within yourself. Whether you're in a woman's body or a man's body. Whether you're looking to connect with divine feminine or divine masculine. Or just the divine beyond feminine and masculine. That infinite presence that's not genderless, but rather genderful, meaning it's everything. It's not either or, but it's everything. It's eternal, it's infinite. It's all encompassing. So if you're a woman and you're looking to help a man in your life find that divine feminine, I would say one of the most important things is to help him understand that he has the permission to break free from the roles that he's been stuck by. For you as the woman in his life to hold space for an expanded sense of who he is. Don't put too much focus on it has to be the divine feminine and here's what it should look like. Because of course, the divine feminine in the form of Kali looks very different from the divine feminine in the form of Lakshmi or Saraswati. So there also isn't even one model that we can say, oh, this is what the divine feminine looks like. There's a whole spectrum. So rather than giving yet another box, yet another label, just hold space for him to break free from whatever boxes he's already in. This is actually one of the greatest gifts that we can give each other. Whether you are lovers in a romantic partnership, whether you are best friends, whether you are family, parents, children, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever you may be, whatever relationship we have, one of the greatest gifts, if not the greatest gift, actually, that we can give each other, is to create space for each other to not be what we are so used to being stuck as. To help each other understand, I see you, not as the color of your skin, not as the chromosomes that determine the sex organs on your body, not as your height or your weight, not as the ratio of your chest to your waist to your hips, not as your bank account, but I see you. I see that spirit. I see that soul. I see that heart in you. I see you. And I'm not going to label it. I'm just going to love it. And whatever shape it takes, whatever form it takes, I don't have an attachment to it being a certain way. And that non-attached, space-creating love is probably the greatest gift that you can give each other. So don't substitute one label for another. It's not that you're trying to turn your man into a divine feminine, but you're simply going to create space for a greater fullness of being and fullness of presence for this man you love in your life, and for him to break free from whatever way that he's stuck. And hopefully he'll be able to do the same for you. This is perhaps one of the greatest mysteries of life. Why do we do that which we don't want to? Why don't we do that which we want to if life is so short? Why do we waste so much time? There's a beautiful poem, you could say. Not a rhyming poem, but a beautiful poem. And I want to say it's by the Dalai Lama, but I'm not sure. It may have just been attributed to him. But it says something like, the greatest irony of our times today is that we spend all of our health to acquire money. All of our time, all our energy, all our health to acquire money. And then we try to use that money to buy back our health. That we have, taller buildings and fancier buildings and fancier cities. Building bridges across rivers. But not building bridges in the hearts of people. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, but the beauty of the poem is this irony. That we know life is short. We know what really matters. And yet we don't live it. And this is where our spiritual practice is so important. This is where mindfulness is so important. Because the reason that we make these mistakes, it's not that we are all purposely self-sabotaging. It's not that we are purposely running in the wrong direction. It's that we just are usually not conscious. We're on autopilot. And our autopilot is programmed not by our highest awareness, not by our highest intention, not by our clearest consciousness. Our autopilot is programmed by our family of origin, by the culture and the society we grew up in, and especially the messages that we got in the early years of our life, by the values that we get in advertising and marketing all day long, that tell us constantly that we are not enough, that our lives are not enough, that we have to buy more, have more fun, look better. And so whether it's about, a new handbag, or whether it's about plastic surgery, whether it's about a vacation at Club Med or a new car, whatever it may be, from weight loss to some brand new career, to everything in between, we spend our lives in this autopilot of just reacting to what the messages that we get from outside tell us. Oh, do this, it's really fun. And hey, look at these people in the commercial. They are so beautiful. And what's the subconscious message? If you do what they're doing, you also will be beautiful. You also will be happy. If you look at the TV shows that we watch, for example, there's so many cues that we get about how to live life based on, if we do that, then we also will be as happy, as beautiful, as carefree as the people in these sitcoms. And of course, the people in the sitcoms are actors and actresses being paid huge sums of money to just look happy and carefree. Hundreds of thousands of dollars per episode, like half an hour. All you've got to do is, look happy and carefree. Sit at a diner and eat French fries and laugh and giggle, or, in some slapstick comedy, kind of trip over your chair on the way out. Hundreds of thousands of dollars to look happy, to look carefree, to make us, the viewer, believe that root beer float or that latte or those clothes that they've just bought actually have made them that happy. So we buy into all of this. Now, it's not believable when we sit together in satsang. Everyone always laughs. As we examine it and look at it and be aware of it, as we witness it, we realize it's absurd. But this is the dilemma, because in life we are not usually conscious. We're on autopilot. And our autopilot doesn't have to be convinced. It just moves. It just moves. Without any thought, whatever it's been programmed to do, it just does. Depressed, chocolate cake, or depressed, 6-pack of beer, or depressed, drugs, or depressed, meaningless sex, or depressed, shopping. Whatever we've seen, whatever we've learned, it's what we do. This is where all of our spiritual traditions emphasize consciousness, mindfulness, so that in every minute we can really ask ourselves, is this how I want to be acting? Is this how I want to be speaking? Is this how I want to be spending my time? And this is where also the awareness of death is so powerful. Because every time someone we love dies, or every time we get afraid, oh my God, is that, going to be a cancer diagnosis? Every time someone we know or love gets a diagnosis like that, it reminds us, life is really short. Life is really tenuous. Every moment is so precious. and it brings us back into consciousness. But rather than needing your loved ones to die or needing terminal diagnoses in order to become aware, just meditate. Just bring a practice of mindfulness into your life. It's all simply about breaking free from autopilot. Can you be aware as you walk? Can you be aware of every foot on the ground, heel, then ball of the toe? Can you be aware as you're drinking a glass of water what it feels like on the lips, on the tongue, going down the throat? Not because the drinking of the water matters so much, but because it brings us into awareness. And as we're brought into awareness, we're no longer on autopilot. It's the only answer. If you find that you keep wasting time doing things that are not only not enjoyable, but are not beneficial for you, for the world, the typical kind of numbed out scrolling of a Facebook feed, or the numbed out sitting in front of a TV, or all of these things that we do that neither are actually enjoyable or filling us with some kind of deep invigoration, nor are things that are actually beneficial. Sitting around gossiping. Neither are we actually developing close connections with people in love. Nor are we talking about things that will help us grow, benefit us. Just wasted time. So the more conscious you become, the less you're going to find yourself falling into the trap of autopilot. And that's the importance of living in the conscious mind. So if you haven't started a practice of mindfulness, today is a great day.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Like Baldwin with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I grew up loving circuses and other traveling animal shows, but it never occurred to me what life might be like for the animals. Training wild animals to do things they don't understand takes force. Routine discipline with a hook or whip with the heel of a boot shows the animal exactly who's the boss. Don't patronize animal acts. Please contact People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
757-622-PETA.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with inspiration and transformation. So secrets are interesting because on the one hand, life should be transparent. On the one hand, why hold anything away from the light, from the world? from the sun. It's only in opening that things heal. We hold on to things that we call secrets, usually because they are things that we are ashamed of in some way. Things that make us feel shameful, whether it's something we've done, something that's happened to us, something that we think, we feel. And we hold that inside because there's a sense of shame. Opening it to the world. And I don't mean you have to take out an ad on TV and broadcast it or put it up on Facebook. Not everything is public knowledge. But that sense of, this is a secret, don't tell anyone. Now, I'm sharing this from the side of the person who's telling the secret, not the side of the person who's listening to it. We'll come to that in a moment. But from the side of the person telling it, really ask yourself, am I benefiting in any way from holding this inside? What is the narrative, the myth that I'm telling myself about this secret, about this story that makes me feel so ashamed? And can I take that leap? Can I take that jump? Can I have faith? Can I share? Such that I can free myself from the shame. Because that shame is going to kill you. That sense of I've got a deep, dark secret, that's going to kill you. We think we'll die if somebody finds out. But the truth is, holding it inside, that shame itself is what kills us. Humiliation is horrible, briefly. Somebody tells your secret, everybody comes to know it's miserable, briefly. We get over it, life moves on. In many cases, it's not nearly as bad as we thought it would be. But shame eats at us forever. Because shame comes with its own drama, its own narrative, its own story that says you are bad, you are dark, you are wrong, you are evil, you are shameful. And that is what kills us. So from the side of the person telling the secret, think about when you say to someone, don't tell this to anyone. Think about, why are you so ashamed? Why does it feel so deep and dark to you? And from the side of the person hearing it, before we get to whether you should tell anyone else, your first duty is to the person who's told you, which is to help them understand there is nothing to be ashamed of. Even if they've made a mistake, we all make mistakes. Even if they've done something wrong, we all do wrong things. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. So if someone confides in you with a deep, dark secret, make sure that your very first response, before, oh my God, I can't believe it, is to help them understand there's nothing to be ashamed of. Then, in terms of whether you should ever tell someone, typically the answer is no. Unless there are some cases in which telling is justified. It's justified if someone's physical health is at risk. If someone confides in you, for example, that they are contemplating suicide. If someone confides in you that they're contemplating killing someone else. If someone confides in you something that has a direct impact on their own health and safety, or on the health and safety of other people, there's a duty to let people know. But before you go and tell someone else's secret, see whether you can convince that person to tell people themselves. See whether you can convince them to open up about it themselves. If you're going to tell a secret that someone else has told you, be very, very careful. Think 100 times before you do it. In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna tells us that dharmic speech, the right speech, has to be three things. It has to be true, but being true isn't enough. It also has to be kind, and it has to be beneficial. And so really ask yourself, is what I'm about to share true? Okay, maybe it is, the person's told you. But is it also kind? Kind to the person whose secret it was, and kind to the person I'm telling? Is it beneficial? Am I helping something? Or am I just spreading juicy gossip? Because, oh my God, I can't believe it, I have to tell someone. Or, oh my God, you won't believe it. This goes back to our earlier question, talking about wasting time and wasting energy. Telling each other's juicy secrets is a very big waste of time and energy. Sharing your own deep, what feels like darkness but just as ignorance with others, such that it can be exposed to the light, such that it can heal. That's beautiful. That's beneficial. But telling others what someone else has told you in confidence, don't do it unless you're really going to put someone in danger if you don't. It's not your karmic duty.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Like Baldwin with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I grew up loving circuses and other traveling animal shows, but it never occurred to me what life might be like for the animals. Training wild animals to do things they don't understand takes force. Routine discipline with a hook or whip with the heel of a boot shows the animal exactly who's the boss. Don't patronize animal acts. Please contact People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
757-622-PETA.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with inspiration and transformation. Not by staying out of the world. This is where the lotus is the beautiful example. The lotus flower is worshipped. Not because it lives in pristine waters. It's worshipped because it lives in the mud, but stays pristine. We stay pristine through our own inner practice, through knowing that the dirt of the world, the mud of the world, doesn't touch me. And by the world, I don't only mean that which is outside of myself. I also even mean the inner world. Because there's a lot of dirt in our own minds. We feel anger, we feel jealousy, we feel greed, we feel lust, we feel competition, we feel so many things that certainly don't feel very pristine. But the awareness all the time is it doesn't impact the truth of who I am. It doesn't impact me. The fluctuations of the mind are not the core of who I am. The core of who I am is pristine, is pure, is divine, is holy, is infinite. And yeah, I'm here having this human experience. And I'm going to feel anger, and I'm going to feel frustration, I'm going to feel jealous, and I'm going to have all sorts of thoughts in the mind, and each of us experiences these things differently. But I'm not going to identify with it. First of all, I'm going to try to do whatever I can to be free of it. This is why we meditate. This is why we pray. This is why we do seva. It's why we come to satsang. Rather than sitting just in tea shops chatting and gossiping. We do these things because it actually helps still the mind. It actually helps stop that fluctuation of the stuff of the mind. It's not that God is saying, oh, I really wish someone would pray to me. I really wish someone would meditate on me. Why doesn't anybody remember me? We do it for ourselves, to connect us with the truth of who we are. Otherwise, if we just move through the world, chatting, gossiping, busy, doing things not connected inside, then we think, I am the anger, I am the frustration, I am the jealousy, I am the greed, I am the lust, I am the depression. And then we feel distinctly not pristine, distinctly not pure. And then a lot of us try to do whatever we can to find purity outside. Oh, I'll just get this certificate. I'll do this course. Then I'll feel pure. Then I'll be holy and divine. I'll memorize this, I'll learn that. Then I'll feel pure. But it's actually all about going back within and realizing that our path is about stopping the fluctuations of the mind. That's what yoga is stopping the fluctuations of the stuff of the mind. And so whether it's the stuff in the outer world or the stuff in the the inner world of the mind, of the sanskaras. In either case, it isn't the core of who I am. And my dharma, my purpose, the reason I've taken human birth with consciousness, with the ability to focus my consciousness. Animals cannot do that. They smell something, they run over there. They hear something, they run over there. They're hungry, they run there. The reason that the human birth is considered the pinnacle of evolution is we actually have the ability to direct our own awareness, to direct our own consciousness, to be conscious of consciousness. And sure, we can scatter it away, we can waste the life. The universe is infinitely patient. We'll have another one. But why wait? Why not grab this opportunity? Become conscious, become aware. Find that stillness in the fluctuation of the mind stuff. Become really conscious of what's self and what isn't. And whether that not self is the person who's sitting in front of you, who's gossiping to you, or yelling at you, or criticizing you, or whether that not self is your own mind talking nonsense. Either way, recognize it as not self. And then it's like a constant bath. It's just like this constant bath that just washes away all of the dirt that may have temporarily come onto not the true self, but onto your awareness of the self. The true self is never anything but pristine. But the mirror, the glass through which we see it, gets covered with dirt. Every time we meditate, every time we pray, we serve, we sit in satsang, we do any one of so many spiritual practices. We do them because they clean that window. So we can be re-reminded of the purity of the self. So awareness, consciousness, that's what keeps you clean. Keeps that glass clear so you can see the ever pristine, ever pure truth of yourself.
This brings to a close this hour of inspiration and transformation. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to be together with you all each week, and I look forward to being together again next Thursday, same time, on OMTimes Radio.